Hello, how you guys doing?
It's okay.
Good.
Well, how did that feel to have that kind of performance, and what do you think your defense showed?
I mean, anytime I think you can come out with a win, relatively healthy, it felt good. It felt really good. I was proud of the guys. I was proud of the way they went out there and just handled our preparation throughout the week. Just the mentality going into that week. I thought they prepared the right way. I want to give a lot of credit. There's a bunch of guys behind the scenes that I know a lot of you guys don't know about, right? Ron Somerson is a young analyst for us, and he does the early down pass game breakdown, and he made a cut up on Monday for me as a coordinator that I was able to show to the guys. I'm talking about it was pinpoint, right? From the passes they like to throw, when they like to throw those passes, how they move within the quarter pocket, like what this like in terms of vertically where they're attacking and around the Daniels had a higher completion rate in the first 15 yards, and it was an incredible cut up, right? Kevin Richardson, right, who also works back there with us in the secondary, like his preparation in terms of our guys, especially on the outside at corner, it was really special. Because we got more hands on deck, a lot of those guys are able to spend one-on-one time with some of our players, which is like invaluable. I think about Grant Morgan, who's just like the rest of those cats, a star in the making, and I want to highlight these guys because I know there's a lot of people that don't really know about them, because everybody hears about the position coaches and the coordinator, but I got an army behind me and a core group of guys behind me in this unit that are beyond special. Grant Morgan and the job he did in our preparation, he handles the early down run game with Coach Archie, right? They kind of work hand in hand together, but he ended up making this the early down scouting report in the run game about like the visuals for our players to digest it and so they can play fast, right? Alex Panos, right? Alex Panos works with Coach Jameson in our D-line. He does a breakdown in regards to those 5 guys up front with Coach Jameson, right? And how to attack some of their strengths and weaknesses. And it's awesome for our guys to see, right? Trent Harris, like he's, obviously Coach brought him in and what he's been able to do with Coach Clint. Him and Coach Clint work hand in hand together. But, he's for a guy to play in the NFL, which Coach Clint, for guys to be able to see that and the work that he's put in. And then like to have Coach Myers Hendrickson, who's an offensive guy by trade, right, work with our look team quarterback and Trey Petty was absolutely incredible. About some of the same mannerisms, that Daniels had. Trey tried to emulate those. He had a cut up for Trey early in the week, so Trey can be spot on and pinpointing how he does things. And so when you go through all of that and you see the preparation, which I know like a lot of people don't see behind the scenes, and you see it like come to life, it's because we got a group of guys in that building who have truly bought in, right, from the coaching staff to the players, and the result of that, right, we happen to be on the winning side of it, which was exciting. But it was really like a build-up of events in regards to how those guys prepared that I was mostly excited about.
Along those lines, you had a game plan that worked. Obviously, is that a confidence builder, not just for the staff, but for the players on the field? When you work on something all week and it comes to fruition?
No, I don't know if I would say it's a confidence builder, but I would probably more so venture to say it's I guess when you can show players, I mean, this is something that we have been in terms of like being able to see things on tape and correct them, right, in regards to all of our games from last year and even with fall camp and spring ball. Like, I don't know if I would say confidence builder because I think they walked into the game pretty confident, like I think we do a good job as a coaching staff of instilling confidence in our players, but it was just affirmation. We were just confirming pretty much of how they probably already felt. They were confident going into it, and I think anytime you can display that on a game day, right, like obviously the world was able to see that on game day. Well, I had saw that a week in advance, and so they were just showcasing it out to the rest of the country, which I spoke to that in my pregame speech to the guys, right? Like they just had this look. They had the same look last week, you know what I mean? And it was just cool to see those guys execute that,
And obviously Xavier's the guy we talked about, maybe moving boundary corner, but when he's playing like this at that star spot, how do you how do you approach that and understanding the value of his versatility versus what he's doing right now at that position?
This is my recruiting pitch right here, right? So, you know, oftentimes you hear people say corner, nickel, right? Safety, boundary free, right? Xavier Scott falls under the category, like most of our guys do, as a defensive back, right? And his skill set, based on his skill set, we move him all over the field. I know I think he took like 15, 16 snaps at outside wide at defensive back. Most people will call a corner, right? He took snaps in the slot, right? We had a couple of plays for him to take snaps in the middle of the field. We didn't get to those, right? And so we're just trying to maximize. Coach always talks about this: maximize players, maximize their talent, their skill level, you know. And so we knew that that Grimm was one of their best receivers, and Xavier for the most time was tasked to follow him for the majority of the game. And so it just happened to fall into that category, and he was in the slot, and he could have easily been lined up at one, and he probably would have still followed him. And so it was good to see the game he had. You know, I was kind of upset at him at the end of the game because he had some opportunities that he missed that we really could have capitalized on, right? That the untrained eye probably didn't see it, right? When I say upset, like not yelling at him or nothing, but just like really special players, right? The Kobe Bryants of the world, LeBron James of the world, they develop this killer instinct and they're not satisfied when success shows up, right? And so we had a long conversation yesterday about how to handle it, because in regards to this country, in regards to, I love you guys, but in regards to the media, everybody's about to pat these guys on the back here, right? And this next game that we're about to walk into, most people would label it as a trap game, right? And if you come in sleepwalking, the team that we're about to play is a really, really, really talented team. All right, we have been having this conversation since the end of spring ball, right? Like it's so easy when you're at the bottom of the mountain to always be hungry and climb, right? But as you slowly start to get to a level and a height of that mountain that most people may deem as successful, right? Like, how do you keep that hunger? You know, how do you sustain that hunger? And we have a lot of real conversations in our meeting room, and you know, I just tried to speak to the defense yesterday in regards to, right, being able to handle success, right? In the society we live in, we don't do a good job at it holistically, right? There's a reason why the suicidal rate at a national level has skyrocketed, right? People start to encounter success, and with success comes things that young people, it's really, really hard for them to handle, right? Now, obviously, that's an extreme, you know what I'm saying? And so my job is to keep them humble. My job is to make sure that as coaches, we focus on the task at hand, but not to get off your point, right? Like Xavier did play a really good game, right? We had a couple of guys that played a really good game, and he made some plays to the untrained eye. That interception he had wasn't even his best play. It was the play before when he beat a double team and he made a tackle out of bounds that I thought was showing his skill level. On Thursday, Xavier didn't have a good practice, and not have a good segment of practice. And I got into him, right? I got into him in front of his teammates. I challenged him in front of his teammates. And what I love about that kid is he's coachable. He didn't say nothing. He looked me dead in my face and said, "Yes, sir." You know, like when you have that kind of young man who can look you in your face, right? And I can coach him really hard, because that's the kind of coaching that he came from in high school, right? Like I can coach him extremely, extremely hard. And I challenged him in front of the whole defense. All right, because he had done some things in the course of that segment of practice that I didn't like, and that was uncharacteristic of his skill set. And he didn't say nothing. He just said, "Yes, sir." He took the coaching, right? He took the coaching for that segment, made a correction, and to see him go out there and do what he did, that's just a testament to who that young man is. And again, like there's a lot of things in regards to things that happen behind the scenes that I'm just so happy that you guys were able to see. I mean, we knew it was coming as coaches. I was just excited for that young man at night.
Central Michigan, they didn't put their best foot forward last week, obviously with a bunch of turnovers. Are they a little better offensively than what they've shown so far, you think?
Absolutely, right? Give credit to the team that they were playing. You know, like the cool thing about college football is one thing that the portal has done is neutralized everybody, right? And I spoke to our defense even a couple of days before the game. right? Because we have 45 brand new players within the framework of our team, you know, any given week you can lose or win, right? And so the reality of it is now, like, the last team that they played in FIU, yeah, they probably didn't play as well as they wanted to. But I don't look at that, right? Watching it as a coordinator, I'm looking at it as, well, what if that dude had caught that ball, right? Because they had some dudes open, right? Well, what if the quarterback would have took this progression instead of that one? All right, you're talking about a completely different ball game, and they are a lot better on tape, right, than what is being displayed. They are a really talented team. Obviously, the head coach has coached at some pretty powerful schools. They beat some pretty good opponents historically. You know, they've been in some dog fights. You know, I had a chance to watch them versus Notre Dame. I think it was a couple years ago or last year, and it was a good game. You know, so they got really talented players across the board, and the reality of it is, because of the portal, right? Like, it's no longer just about skill set, right? It's no longer just about, let's just find good talent and bring it. No, it's how fast can you get a group of young men to play together? How quickly can you get a group of young men to play together and to believe in what you're trying to teach them, right? Because the faster team that can connect together, right, or the fastest position group or the fastest side of the ball that can connect together, right, as fast as they can connect, I think, and it has nothing to do with talent, right? Talent helps, but if you can connect pretty fast, you got a chance. And so they're going to walk into the stadium, right? They're probably going to see, right, a couple of years ago, UTSA. You know, UTSA was a pretty damn good team, right? They beat us, right? They're going to see Toledo from last year, and Toledo was a pretty damn good team. That was a dogfight, right? And so any game we go into, if we got a chance to step on that field, knowing what I know now as a coordinator, right, like as a leader of men, my goal is to make sure we don't walk in there half asleep.
Is there a timeline, or is there an update on Terrence Brooks? How has he been practicing, and is there any update on him?
Yeah, he's been practicing awesome. I think the reality of it is, you know, like, just to give you guys some perspective, our goal as coaches is to not play our best players. You know, you probably saw Torrey Cox and Caleb Patterson out there majority of the game, right? Well, there is a build-up throughout the course of the week that have allotted those players that opportunity. Okay, I don't really care about stars or where a player has come from or how many games he started. I just watch them practice every single day. I watch how they operate. I watch how they conduct themselves, and I watch how they fit in the scheme in which we're trying to have every single day. Right? Coach talks about tough, smart, and dependable. Right? Tough, smart, and dependable. And so, just one thing I want to continue to hit on, right? Like we are going to play our best players, right? We are going to play the best players that give us the best opportunity every single day to win, right? I know it's you guys' job to inquire about who are your best players, but I would just challenge you, right? When you watch the game, when you watch us play, all right, and you see and you look out there, right, well, why isn't this guy playing? I would just challenge you to ask, well, is he their best player? Right? Because I can promise you, Coach Henry does not go to sleep at night saying, I'm going to try to find a way to screw this cat because I think he's our best player. Right? And so I hope that kind of answered your question a little bit, but we just feel like at the position that he's at, you know, we got some really good battles there. Right? Maybe he'll have an opportunity to play more this week. I don't know. Right? I try to make practice harder than games. You know, and how practice goes, we'll see, right? We will see. It's a good problem to have, though, because I didn't have this problem last year, right? I was trying to figure out who was going to play where, and so he's practicing hard, though. I will say that he's practicing hard.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Appreciate.